Thank you. So I probably don't need to introduce myself again. That would be far too egotistical. But Lily is here as well. We're both from London. We've come to Berlin to do the hack. As I say, we're from London and we're Europeans. So this is backup call. This is a little thing, again, using Tropo. As we say, this provides a method for holding interesting personal data. Examples that we've been looking at are phone numbers, bank details, passports, this sort of thing. Things that you wouldn't necessarily remember, but becoming very useful if there's a problem. Can be used to stay in contact if you lose or your phone is stolen. And the premise is an asymmetric one. That is, you create and edit the data on the web where you've got a nice, fancy, usable interface, and you access it all through your phone by using the touch tones. So if I demonstrate that, Lily, have you got my phone? Oops. Well, of course, if your phone breaks as well or runs out of battery, you could also be in need of this. So the solution that we have is a simple little web page which has your emergency data, your emergency contacts, I should say, your non-emergency contacts, and information such as the passport and the bank if you need to sort of recover from there. I'll show you it live just to prove it. Let me log in first. So here we have it. The data is obscured. If you are in an internet cafe, for example, it just blurs it out so no one is casually reading what goes on. There's also a calendar. Google Calendar give you a URL which you don't need to sign in to use. So you can dump that in an iframe as well. And this is us today. This is TADHack in Berlin. And this brings up our information. Now, we're storing this in here. We can edit any of our fields. But I'll actually show you the other half now, which is how you actually access this information through the phone. Now, since my current phone seems to be on the floor in pieces, I'll use a SIP phone for the purpose of this demonstration. Is my SIP phone on screen? Nope. Let me see if I can minimize it. Now is my SIP phone on screen? No. If I shut that down, maybe. Now do I have? No, I still don't have a SIP phone. What magic key did you use before? Let's try another one. Oh, there it is. It's on the screen. So let's call the TADHack Tropo call. That should be in.
Please enter your 6-digit username.
So I'm only using 6 digits here. We could use more. So.
Thank you, Steve. Password. Please select an option. 1 is emergency. Please select an option. 1 is request another service. Or press 0 to hear the menu. Okay,
I'll quieten that for a while. One of the things that we have found is that because there's voice recognition in the platform as well, if it does hear other noises, such as me talking, it does try to interpret that as an option. So you log in with your username and the password, you call an emergency number, which is the Tropo number, and it acts pretty much like you'd hope any emergency number would. It's available everywhere. You can use it, regardless of country. Username and password, and it then accesses the same data store that you saw from the web. And on the first set of options, we'll have option
2, police on 110, passport number, G1,
blah, blah, blah. So if I let that finish.
7, the nearest embassy is Friedrich Trust 3, request another service. Or your
4.
calendar, today's event, TADHack in Berlin at go to Uganda for 45 at 12,059 Berlin in Germany in case of problems. Call Dennis Kirsten on +49 179 blah blah blah. Request another service. Or press.
All that information has been pulled from that calendar. It gives me the emergency contact, Dennis, who's running the show here, in case I need to get in contact with him as a consequence of getting lost or having phone lost or stolen, anything like that. Now, one thing that you may or may not have noticed, when I pulled up the Berlin on the calendar, there's a spelling mistake in here. This is typical of me. Unfortunately, it does mean you end up writing more interesting code. And if I go into the next option...
Lily on SIP, Lily 2.0 at sip.linphone.org. Grandma on telephone 330...
We'll ignore that bit for now. That's my surprise ending.
I couldn't find a country called Germany, so have assumed you meant Germany. For emergency phone calls, use 112. Police on 110. Passport number is ENG1234456. Your bank is Lloyd's 47. The nearest embassy is Friedrich Trust 3. Request another service.
So all the emergency numbers is pulled from emergencynumbersapi.com. I used a little routine. I discovered that Levenstein distance actually lets you work out the closest word to the word you probably meant. So I wrote a little API that just translates the badly spelt country name of Germany and any other that you might have into a 2-letter code, which can then be used with the emergency contact API. Well, obviously this is TADHack, which has telecoms in it, so it wouldn't be much of a hack if we didn't have telecom-based things. So let's go to 1, for example. I'm talking, so it's probably going to correct on me.
Forwarding call to Lily.
So I've now made a call. If Lily's got her VoIP phone on. So we don't want video. So we'll just have an audio call. Your thing should ring.
Hello.
So as you see, because we have all the contacts on the page, Lily is starred with an emergency number. When I go in, what the machine is saying, I could probably, if I rerun it. Oops. Yeah, okay, I'll close that and reopen it again while we talk. So what I'm able to do.
Thank you, Steve. Password. Please select an option. To whom shall I forward you? 1 is Lily. I cannot find contact 8. Please select an option. Please select an option. 1 is emergency forward.
Yeah. So what it's doing, it's saying which of these starred contacts would you like? You can work through them yourself, or we can expand the code to do so. This was the start of the idea, but we can actually take this one stage further. This is all about personal emergencies. You lost your phone, it's stolen, it's broken, it's on the floor. But there's actually a more interesting case when you look at global problems, global emergencies, hurricanes, terrorism, fires, this sort of thing. The phone networks are bound to get busy at these sort of times, especially on international calls where those phone lines can be more useful for the emergency services. So if we can make a local call to a local server, and then other local servers in more local areas distribute the message that the phone is lost, stolen, broken, and we're all right, then there's another case here. So if I bring back our talking Tropo.
Lily on SIP. Lily 2.0 at SIP.
Wait for it to finish.
On telephone 339,589. Request another service. Or please record a message.
It's okay, everyone. I've lost my phone. There's problems here, but I'm okay because I'm nowhere near the center. Hope you're all fine. Bye for now. So that should have now recorded a message onto the Tropo servers. They then send me a callback to my servers saying, here's a WAV file for recording. I then attach that recording to my user account. So what I then do, oops, I've closed the window. Let's open him again.
Please enter. Thank you, Steve. Password. Please select an option.
This will now broadcast to people in my emergency contacts. So, okay, everyone, I've lost my phone. There's problems here, but I'm okay because I'm nowhere near the center. Hope you're all fine. Bye for now. Excellent, thanks. And that is the message which will get distributed to everybody that's in that emergency contact list with the little star on. So what have we used? Well, it's Tropo for the voice, quite obviously. You probably also heard the first presentation where, to get things moving quickly, I built this little framework to test it. As you saw, every time I have to restart that SIP phone, every time I have to go through that menu, it takes up valuable development time. All the code is basic LAMP stack, it's PHP, there's nothing too clever there. Running it on the colo that I've got sat in Telehouse. Google Calendar and iCal parser, which I ripped off somewhere. The country name to ISO converter with the Levenstein distances, emergency number APIs, all the stuff that just let you build a fuller picture of what you're doing in said country. Observations from this hack: not all SIPs are created equally. It does turn out that we couldn't actually forward messages to the SIP-to-SIP addresses. So we had to create a new set of accounts and new addresses and download new SIP phones to make that work. Not all the libraries would work. There seems to be two different ways of calling one of the API methods. There's the documented method, and there's the way that works. Guess which one you try first? So that took a little while to get going. And in the text, we had to use commas rather than the full stop, because the full stop would stop things going. Fixing some parsers that like to escape characters, where escape characters really aren't useful. And we had to put all the options in the ask. When the machine says, put in your username or put in your passcode, you're asking the user to put in a series of numbers. If you use say, it will read out the text as normal. The problem is if you read out the text, you have to wait for all the text to be spoken. This takes forever, so you have to put it in the ask if you want to get any work done. We've still got more ideas on this. Playback and forwarding functionality for non-emergency contacts. At the moment, only emergency people can be contacted. No reason why we can't expand onto that. It'd be nice to import all your contact lists from your phone. There's quite a lot of people on the phone. Obviously, I don't remember all the numbers by heart. That's why I need something like this. But importing them automatically would be an obvious time saver. And what I think is probably the most interesting one would be virtual numbers for permanent forwarding. So if instead of giving you my phone number, I give you a Tropo virtual phone number. That way when you call me, it will automatically forward you onto my real phone. However, if I've gone to the site and I've said, there's an emergency here, I've lost my phone, that will automatically trigger that virtual number to, instead of forwarding to my real phone, it will play back the message I've just recorded as like an answer phone message saying, Steve lost his phone, but he's okay, really. So that, in an incredibly large nutshell, is Backup Call. I'm the Marquis, this is Lily, and that's our TADHack from Berlin. Thank you and good night.